Buonasera. Buonasera. Salve. Salve. Good evening. Good evening. I know I've been gone for a really long time. Yeah, I don't really have a good excuse. I just wasn't, I guess, feeling good to be in front of the camera, and was very busy with a lot of other projects I was doing at the time. But I'm back. So I thought about going over some CDs today because I was in the car and I was listening to some old music that I used to listen to in high school, like end of high school, and I thought I should take out my old CDs from the boxes I keep them in now. I used to have them up, but since I moved to my new place, I haven't taken them out because I don't know, I haven't wanted to put them up, but I don't want to get rid of them either. So I opened one of the boxes and I kind of went through and picked out a bunch of CDs here in no particular order, but I did pick out ones that like I felt like I had more of a memory about or something to say. But yeah, so I'll just talk about each of them a little bit, just random stuff. And yeah, if you have any questions about any of the songs, any of the CDs or the artists, or you're curious, just leave me a comment. If you'd like to see another video like this, also leave me a comment. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you subscribe and like my videos, I want to like really get back into this. So let's start. So this album is by Songs Ohio, and I believe it came out in 2001. I believe it is a live recording or a studio recording that was done in Italy. And I like the packaging, it's pretty. And the title is Mi sei apparsa come un fantasma. Mi sei apparsa come un fantasma, which means you came to me as a ghost. You came to me as a ghost. So Songs Ohio did like, I'm going to try to describe some of this music. I may not be doing the best job, so don't come at me about it. Songs Ohio did like very stripped down lo-fi, I guess, kind of country-ish or like folk country music. That was usually about like heartbreak or stuff like that. I used to really like him a lot. I still like him, but I used to really love him. I thought he was lyrically so great. Jason Molina, I think he died. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I looked it up recently and he passed away from like cirrhosis or alcoholism. But I'm not 100% sure, so maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else. Sorry guys for the cars. So yeah, this was a EP that came out. So he's an American from the Midwest, I think. But he recorded this in Italy. He was pretty big in like the folk indie scene in Italy too. Okay. This album is by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. It came out, I want to say 2006 or something. Yep, 2006, and this album is called Show Your Bones. It had off of it, Cold Lion, had a really cool video on TV, that music video that had come out with Karen O, the lead singer, the singer. She was pretty friggin' fierce in it. And they're kind of like, I don't know, electro, indie music. I don't know. Electro indie, I would say. Electro poppy indie. Okay. This one is, I used to love this album. It's by Yola Tango. Am I confusing it with? Yeah, it was this one. I think I preferred both. Actually, both of these albums are by Yola Tango. They're kind of a shoegazy, lo-fi, indie band from like the late 90s, early 2000s. I thought that the actual CD was super cute. See, there's a little quilted heart on it. It was on Matador Records, an indie label that was pretty big. I don't know if they still exist. And the album is called I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One. I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One. Let's see if there's any. Yeah, so that's the cover again. There's not really any other art in here that's worth looking at. There isn't any. Which ones were the songs I liked off of this one? Oh, track number 8, Autumn Sweater, is really good. Yeah. So this one, did I say what year this one came out? I don't think I did. Let's see. This one came out in, I don't see a date here. I want to say it was like, oh, okay, that's weird. It's usually like on here. I don't remember, but this album is older than this one, I want to say. So I'm guessing like 98 or something. This one, or something like that, maybe later. This one's from 2003, also on Matador Records. This album is called Summer Sun. There's a blurred picture of the band. And that's what the CD looked like. It was pretty cool. Also, it's all these colors. Let's see. What were my favorite songs from this one? I don't know. Love to Be Still, Beach Party, Little Eyes. Maybe Little Eyes. Okay, so this is a sampler of this label, which probably still exists. It was an indie label, an indie hip-hop label that turned me on to hip-hop in college, but like indie hip-hop. I think like not A$AP Rock. Yeah, A$AP Rock used to be on this label, I want to say, but maybe not. But like that kind of music, and this is, yeah, Anticon label sampler, 1999 to 2004. Let's see, what some of the bands that were on here. Hello, Why, Themselves, Soul was pretty famous, or I mean like, I guess in the scene. Ad Nostam. Yeah, it's mostly just them. Let's see. Very like lo-fi and kind of not grungy, but like dark. also Sage Francis was on here and used to be on this label. I don't know if he still is. I used to love Sage Francis, like his first 2 albums. I thought he was pretty talented, but like lyrically, he was pretty on point. I don't know what he's done since then or what he's into now. So, this album by Sufjan Stevens, it's a concept album about Michigan, which is the state he's from, called Michigan Greetings from the Great Lake States. It has like different animals, I guess, from Michigan. And on the back it has the image, whatever those are called, the herald stem or whatever, the symbol of Michigan. My favorite songs off of this, and it's kind of a depressing album, but I used to really like depressing music. Flint, For the Unemployed and Underpaid. Really like this whole album's pretty good. The Upper Peninsula is so sad. That's a very sad song, but it's so good. Let's see. I guess those were my 2 favorite songs. So let's see if this is on Rough Trade, by the way. And this came out, in 2003. Rough Trade, that's they're a little, advertisement for other musicians on their label. So here is the fold-out folds out into kind of a map of Michigan. And on this side is all the lyrics. This is how we used to know what the lyrics to songs were, if they were in the little CD or tape booklet. Yeah, couldn't really. I mean, there was a little bit of stuff online at that point, but it was not easy to look up lyrics. It's like blowing my mind that now on like Spotify, for like 99% of the songs, they literally have the lyrics right there, even like less, mainstream stuff, and that it's like scrolling as the song's going. It's convenient, but some of the mystery, I think, has been taken away from. I mean, the whole music industry's definitely, the way we consume music has definitely changed. Okay, this album was by Neutral Milk Hotel. Come on, everybody knows what this is, at least if you were into that kind of stuff. And at the time when I first found out about this, it was, what is this? There's some note in here from somebody. When I first found out about this band, I think some friend of mine had sent me like one track, and I think it was before they'd even come out with this album, so I knew about Neutral Milk Hotel before it was cool. Hipster alert, or scenester alert, that's what we used to call it, scenesters. And here's the fold down, which is like a lithographic kind of 1930s image of this weird airplane with a phonogram, or what are they called? Phonograms? I don't remember. Over this kind of industrial city. This guy's voice is all guttural and mess. I don't know. I just remember reading that like his brother had died, and one of the songs was about that. The song that I think is most famous. And the airplane over the sea, but I liked a lot of their other songs too. And this is one of the bands that nowadays, like, I am not that into anymore. It's just too much. Let me see what this letter is. That's hilarious. I wonder if this, I mean, it's not hilarious, but this guy who used to be in love with me, even though we went to high school together, but then we went to different colleges. colleges in different countries, but maybe he sent me this album, I don't remember. I guess maybe he did, because he knew I liked this band, and I probably couldn't find it in Italy. Very cute. I hope he's doing well. I kind of broke his heart. Okay, the next album is Surfer Rosa by the Pixies, which is a seminal work of, like, I don't even know, like indie, alt punk stuff. I don't even know how to describe the genre. I used to be so better at this. I used to actually review music. I studied music journalism. I basically for a few years I was a music journalist. Years ago. Years ago. Over a decade ago. This was also, this is off of the 4 there on 4AD. That's the record label. 4AD also has a lot of great bands on there. What the heck? Did I put that in there? Let's see if there's anything cool inside. I don't remember yet. Just different weird pictures that are like on, what's that called? Solar brand? I don't know. I don't remember what this method is called. I think this album has like all good songs, but one second, let me stick this back on here. Okay, sorry. Let's see. Oh yeah, Bone Machine. I remember sending me some guy I used to talk to sending me that song online when I was in high school. Bone Machine. Broken Phase is good. Where Is My Mind is off of this. Everybody has heard that song, or probably, even if they don't know the band. Nimrod's Son. Yeah, they're all pretty good. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is TV on the Radio's album from, I want to say this must have been like 2007, 2008. Also on the 4AD label. This is, oh, it's 2004. Okay, I was confusing this one, I think, with a different record. This one is Desperate, yeah, I was confusing it with a different record. This is Desperate Youth, Bloodthirsty Babes. I think this is the album that I actually first heard by them. They definitely had a very cool, different sound at the time. What were some of the songs I liked from this? Oh, Poppy. Yeah, so the inside's just all the lyrics and stuff. Poppy was a very cool song. And that's the only one I really remember. Here's a picture of the band. Okay. I picked out a lot of albums. Hopefully you guys aren't bored by this. Okay. So here are a couple of albums. I'm gonna kind of show them all together. Both of these are by R.E.M. So I don't know why I pulled this one out specifically. It's not even like it's probably my least favorite R.E.M. Okay, maybe not. I like all of them. So R.E.M. I guess if I had to say like historically my favorite band, I'd still say R.E.M. But yeah, R.E.M. was like my favorite band in high school and college and throughout my mid-20s. Like definitely shaped me. And this is like, I actually got to know them through one of their like later albums after their best, like they made stuff for like 20 years, but I guess this is technically mid-career, but really it's like their first 5 albums they're really good stuff. The other stuff's fine too, but yeah. But I remember seeing the music video on TV when I think I was in high school or middle school. I don't remember what year this came out. And I was just like, whoa, this is so different and cool. So this album is Reveal. And it came out, I can't see. It was Warner Brothers. I think they've been on Warner Brothers for like a long time, except for maybe their first album. This came out, and the inside is pretty plain. It's just like the lyrics, and then this kind of like Andy Warhol style color scheme thing. Dude, I cannot find the date that it was published, or I mean that it first came out. Oh, there it is, 2001. Yeah, so I was like early high school, I want to say, or no, I was like in 11th grade, something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, the song, I like the whole album, and I still like it, just because it's like so nostalgic for me. But the song that had a music video, which is pretty cool if you want to check it out, I'm sure it's still on YouTube, is where the heck, Imitation of Life. Yeah, it's like I can still see it. The whole video's like them at a pool party and just random things happening at this pool party. And so they filmed the whole thing, I think, and then play parts of it in reverse and then zoom in on certain parts. It was like very unique for the time, and the song was definitely the more like jingly poppy song, more like, I guess, catchy song on the album. And it was like a pretty big hit, I think, for, you know, the genre. So this is the Violent Femmes. This album is, it's kind of dark in here, I can't see anything. Crap, this album's kind of dark. When did this come out? 1984, Slash Records, and Rhino. Violent Femmes is kind of like a weird, dark, gothic Americana, punky kind of music, I guess. That's just me trying to describe. I'm not saying that's the exact genre that they absolutely fall in. That's just a bunch of adjectives, really. So there's like this I think is a reprint, so like it's not a first edition. So there's a little note from this reprint about like this album, and that's it pretty much. Just the songs and this little note, and you know, like who was on the album. And this guy I used to date turned me on to them when I was in early college. I remember he had put this second song on this album on a mixtape he made for me. I hear the rain, I hear the rain, I hear the rain, God kill the pain. Yes, I'm not good at singing. I hope your ears aren't bleeding. But yeah, the song was, I was just like, and he also had not put the names of any of the bands or the titles. Like, it was just like, here's a bunch of music, and he didn't say what the bands were, so I was like super mysterious, and I hadn't heard any of this stuff. And I just remember hearing that track and being like, what the heck is this? It was so foreboding, but also like hypnotic. I liked it. So, Talking Heads, another seminal band 1970s. Fear of Music, a great freaking album. Like, all the tracks are great. All the tracks are great. I love, so like, if I used to like divide my day, if people asked me, what's your favorite band? I would say, before 1985, it's Talking Heads. After 1985, it was R.E.M. And I still like really love Talking Heads, and I still listen to them. They're not like I listen to them often, but I still love hearing them if it's playing somewhere or if it's playing in my house or whatever. Like, David Byrne's a freaking genius. End of story, full stop. Like, his voice, the irony that's in his voice and the way he cryptically addresses different things in his songs, it's very up my alley. Okay, so I think this is the first. Oh, also, what label were they on? Sire Records, and this album's from 1979. Okay, this is, I think, the first album by Nine Inch Nails, Pretty Machine, which came out in, I think, 1989. I'm looking here, I don't see it. I'm so sorry about all the cars, I can't do anything about it. This album was pretty dope. Definitely more 80s than all his other albums. 1980. I can't see. 1988, 1989. I can't read. It was on TVT Records. No idea what that record label is. These changed to Interscope or whatever later, right? So, let's see. This is what it looks like. And the other side has the lyrics. So, if you don't know who Nine Inch Nails is, it's kind of like dark industrial-ish, but more mainstream dark, like more melodic industrial band. He was friends with, I guess, Marilyn Manson, but yeah, had like a hole down in it. Kinda, I want to, yeah, they're all great songs if you're into that genre. And when I was in high school, I had a huge crush on Trent Reznor. Like, I thought he was kind of sexy until the mid-2010s, I mean. Like, he used to have drug problems. He got cleaned up and got his life in order, started working out, and went into, like, kind of became, like, buff, and I was kind of into it at the time. I'm not so into, like, what he looks like now, but to each his own. I'm glad he's doing better. But yeah, like, definitely in high school I was into the edgy, skinny, pale look, and his voice was, like, the sexiest thing to me. Okay, so this is a used version of Harvest by Neil Young. There's still, like, these things on it. I grew up hearing this. My mom and dad had this album, and I still think it's, like, his best album. I think that's, like, why it's widely regarded as his best album. And I have this memory of going on vacation going to visit my grandmother, where my mom still had stuff in her old room from when she was younger and lived with my grandmother. And she had this 8-track player, and she still had 8 tracks that you could play on them, and some of them were mixtapes that someone must have given her, or made for her, or whatever, or she made for herself. And Old Man was on that. And it just seemed so mystical to me at the time. I was like 8 or 9. I was really into it. And yeah, I still love Neil Young. Even if He canceled himself now, but whatever. He was a great artist in his prime, in my opinion. This is not really a band I'm crazy about, but I did like this album, System of a Down. And it's actually the first album I ever did like a review that was published. I was still in high school, and I did a musical review about this, and kind of how it was also about, I'm guessing this came out in 2001, like later that year, or 2002, because a lot of it had to do also with like, there's a lot of political messages in it about what was going on in the Iraq War, Afghani War at the time, the invasion of Afghanistan after 9/11. Yeah, I think this is also like a bootleg that my dad brought me from somewhere. I have no idea. Maybe not, I'm not sure. I don't remember. But yeah, everybody, or, you know, most people know who System of a Down is. Okay, this band, like, really, well, I've always liked music, but I grew up listening to, you know, like, stuff my parents liked. But the Strokes, they, like, now, they seem so tame now, but at the time, they totally, like, changed the game in music. They were definitely, like, I think the face of a revival of, just, like, mod and certain kinds of indie music. Or not a revival, but they just, like, really kickstarted. Yeah, I guess, like, indie music and rock and mod being, like, at the forefront more again. I think, like, hip-hop and just electronic, like, techno and dancing music had been more of a thing in the 90s. And this album was just, like, I remember, like, losing my crap over it as if, I don't know, like they were the Beatles or something. Yeah, this is, like, a historic album. Yeah. I don't really listen to them ever, but every once in a while, like every few years, I may hear, like, a song and be like, it just takes me back. Let's see. Okay, so this is a collection of songs, of recordings of Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters, the complete plantation recordings. The historic 1941 to 1942 Library of Congress field recordings. So, I don't remember the guy's name, but there was some guy who was going, maybe it says in here, let me check. Paul Oliver. No. I'm sorry. So, the field, let me read this a little bit to you. I really heard myself for the first time. I'd never heard my voice. I used to sing just how I felt, 'cause that's the way we always sang in Mississippi. But when Mr. Lomax played me the record, I thought, man, this boy can sing the blues. Muddy told the blues researcher Paul Oliver of his reaction on first hearing the playback of those Library of Congress tapes in July of 1941, when Alan Lomax was struggling manually to lift a 300-pound portable tape recording unit into the trunk of his car in preparation for a Library of Congress sponsored field recording trip into the Mississippi Delta. The rest of the world was having struggles of its own. So that's kind of the background. So basically, in the 1940s, this guy working for the Library of Congress went out into the Mississippi Delta and started doing recordings of the blues music that was being played there by different African American musicians. And I think he did something similarly, like in the Ozarks and other parts of the US, or I don't know if it was him, but like somebody else did. Yeah. Here's like all the... So, the original label that this was on was Chess Records. This is an old label. blues music, who actually like kind of wrote his own stuff, but a lot of traditional blues music as well. And here's a lot of other musicians whom there are albums for if you want to buy them, such as John Lee Hooker, another big name. Howlin' Wolf, also big. Etta James, of course. Jimmy Witherspoon, Bo Diddley. Okay. And this is what the CD inside looks like. Looks like an old-timey long-playing record that you play in a phonogram. And there is Muddy Waters. I got that album, I think, when I was in college because I was studying the history of music, and I was like in a specialization to become like a music journalist. So, speaking of great black voices, Dinah Washington, this is some compilation of her work called I Wanna Be Loved. I really liked the cover when I first bought it. It seemed so sultry. And it came out on Mercury Records. I think that's the original record label she was on. It's also like a historic label. I just remember walking into the record store I used to go to in Rome, and they always had music playing. Like, you know, whoever was working at the counter that day would play whatever they wanted to play, and often they'd play stuff to like get people interested in something different. And I walked in and I hear this beautiful voice singing this kind of music that I had never heard. Like, not that I'd never heard it, but I couldn't tell if it was like a modern, like someone contemporary that was doing that kind of style, or if it was an old, because it was like such a clean recording. I thought that it was something contemporary, but no, it was Dinah Washington, and I asked what was playing, and I bought it immediately, and I still love her. She had such a beautiful voice. If you don't know her, definitely check her out, Dinah Washington. I love these songs. I think what was playing was I Wanna Be Loved when I walked in, and I was just like amazed, floored by this woman's voice. Amazing. Okay. So this is kind of a weird album. Tales from the Australian Underground. So it's singles from 1976 to 1989. It's a compilation of like, here, I'll show you what it looks like inside, of punk and underground Australian music. I knew a few of the bands that were on this. Honestly, like I've never been a huge punk fan. But again, it was like I was like studying a lot of this stuff, and it was definitely like cool and interesting. So I bought the album, and this booklet kind of just goes over the different bands that are on here, and there's some pictures and some info on the layout's kind of like as if it was magazine clippings or old newspaper clippings. The one band that I do recall knowing and liking some of their stuff before I even bought this was Radio Birdman. If you're into like punk, like older, like if you're looking for some interesting different punk that you may not know, check out Radio Birdman. And what else? The Triffids. Yeah, those are the two bands that I knew already. There's a bunch on here. But yeah, what does this come out on? This is on, what is this label? Because I'm sure I'm not sure, but probably all these guys were on the same label. from the Australian Underground singles from 1976 to 1989, if you want to check it out. Okay. Here's another. Okay, so actually, both of these are other albums by Songs Oaya, which I mentioned earlier. I loved both of these albums. Yeah. Cowboy Lingo is a great song. I mean, they're all great. And this album is called Axis and Aces. Oh my god. So, one of the songs off of this album is the first song I've heard by him. Again, this guy I knew who was a little older than me when I was in high school. This Australian guy sent me a song by them. And I was just so blown away by it. The song was Captain Badass. But the whole album's great. They're all just like beautiful, kind of folky, lo-fi, heartbreaking ballads, but they're just beautiful. Lyrically there, he just was great. I do think he did kill himself, or if not actually killed himself, like slowly let himself, he killed himself with alcoholism, I think. He was, though, really, really a great musician. So this album, I rebought online, I think. Like, I found it online and rebought it. Or bought it for myself. Or I found it somewhere. I don't know. I bought it in the last 10 years. Because my parents have this somewhere. And I used to listen to this when I was in middle school. I was so fascinated by it. It's a compilation called Vietnam, a musical retrospective. Special guest narration by Adrian Cronauer. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie with Robin Williams called Good Morning Vietnam, but it's kind of like a fictionalized story account of Adrian Cronauer's time there. So it's like he picked out a bunch of songs, I guess, or I don't know who picked out the songs, but basically like there's a bunch of songs of that era, and in between the tracks, he like kind of talks about different things, what it was like to be there for him, what the energy was there, different anecdotes, and it's like so well put together with like the arrangement of the tracks is so good. And I was just like really fascinated. I was also like really into Vietnam War history when I was in middle school. I don't know, I'm weird, I guess. Okay, the last album for today is Suicide. Suicide by Suicide. I don't even know how to describe their music. It's just like weird freaking electronic music, but not like, I don't know, you just have to listen to it. This album came out originally, I want to say it came out in 1979, if I remember correctly, but let me check. There's like an interview or something in here. 1996 interview, but disc 1, 1977, digitally remastered in 96, disc 2, 1978. So this album's like from the late 70s. They were definitely, they were like part of the, what was it called, no wave scene in New York. That's what it was. So like I was listening to this album when I was in college. Like my professor had given me a bunch of albums that I needed to listen to and like write about and like just get acquainted with the history of like rock, of different genres. And I put this album on, and if you know what Johnny Teardrop is, but I fell asleep on my bed with this album playing. playing. And at a certain point, this dude from like 0 to 100 starts freaking screaming. And I wake up and literally fall off my bed. Like, I almost had a heart attack. It was terrifying. Like, I will never forget that. But yeah, they have some. If this is your cup of tea, they're pretty dope. Check them out. Ghost Rider and Frankie Teardrop are probably their most famous tracks. I like all of it, but yeah, maybe Ghost Rider would be the first one to listen to. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane with me. I hope I may have piqued your interest in some music you may have not known previously, some bands, some musicians. And if you knew some of the bands, that's cool. Comment, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you knew any of the bands. Let me know if you were curious about any of the bands and musicians. And let me know again if you would like me to do more videos like this, because I definitely have way more CDs. Thank you for joining me this evening. Salve. Buona notte.